You can skip the lower end devices, obviously, but we're talking about most iPhones, high end to mid end and Android devices. They have hardware-based security, which simply does not exist. It didn't exist a few years ago. Doesn't exist on a normal computer or when you're voting on a browser. So that's one. Number two, one of their main complaints used to be that there's no way to verify the identity of a voter when you're voting remotely on a computer. That's been solved too. It was actually solved after a series of events after 9/11. So one of the learnings from that unfortunate series of events was how does the financial industry take leaps to make sure people who are transacting are verified and you kind of know who's doing what. And that whole technology is now gone mainstream, and we've just simply brought that from the fintech space to the election space for the first time. So the ability to scan your ID on the phone, to do a selfie, and so match everything together and be sure that you are the person who's trying to vote and nobody's trying to impersonate. So that's been solved. And then the third challenge is always you have single points of failure, and the blockchain solved that. There's no single point of failure anymore. There's no one place to attack. You can destroy half of the internet in the US. The election will still continue because of how resilient the infrastructure has become. So I think for various reasons, those arguments, get missed. The other really unfortunate thing is the fear and paranoia that's created around cybersecurity. And obviously, no system can ever be 100% safe, right? You try hard enough, you can get into any system. The real trick is, can you make it safe enough? And can you make a system that can survive and thrive in the presence of threats? So that's the whole idea of resiliency, right? You assume that nothing's going to ever be 100% safe, but let's find a way to make it work with that assumption. Otherwise, we can't do anything. Like software runs our world. It runs our airplanes, runs our spaceships. We trust human lives to software. How come we can't trust voting to software? So it's a really ridiculous argument they give sometimes. But the evidence is there. I mean, we've done 76 elections. Nobody's ever been able to, break into an election or tamper with a live vote. And so I think it's more like, do you want to look at the glass half full or half empty? I mean, the technology is here. Nobody says it's perfect, but our goal is to make it safe enough so that if somebody tries to do damage, they can do mass damage. There's no way anymore where you can break into a database and, alter millions of votes. If you really wanted to attack this system, you have to attack each individual's smartphone individually. You have to break that, device, reverse engineer, compromise our app, and then get the voter to do something, during the act of voting. Imagine the effort that will go in to do it at the same time for, millions of iPhones or Android devices out there. Like, there are far easier ways, as we've seen, to corrupt people's opinion than to attack, millions of iPhones on election day at the same time. So there's the practical side of it, and then there's the fear-mongering side of it. So there's a lot of fear-mongering, unfortunately, and, bad news sells. So news will report one bad incident, but they never report thousands of good things which are happening on security, like, all the good things which companies and, governments and other individuals are doing privately. Look at the government of Estonia. They are pioneers in online voting, e-governance. They're sitting right next door to a really powerful adversary who's always trying to attack them. They have run successful online elections since 2007. And so if a tiny country like Estonia could do it, we as a tiny little company can do it. The United States, with all its might and power, sending people to moon, soon to Mars, it's like the argument that we can't vote on the internet doesn't make any sense.
I'm sold. I love the optimism. I'm with you. So let's end with this. Where do you see votes going in the next 5 years? And if there's anything that we haven't covered in our discussion so far, what do you want listeners to know either about the company or just about the cause for mobile voting?
Yeah, so our focus is very kind of doggedly on continuing to take those baby steps. So as we started, we've never had the intention to overnight offer this to millions of people, right? That would be very wrong and a foolish thing to do. So we want to continue for the next couple of years to bring in more voting demographics to the platform, keep taking those next level of baby steps. And then we feel really good that the platform now is ready to expand to more jurisdictions, more voters on the platform. And then eventually in the next election cycle or election cycle and a half, it will be a stage where every citizen in the country can potentially have this as an option in addition to voting in person or voting by mail or whatever other options are available. But we always want to stress it's an option. Nobody will ever be forced to vote on the phone. So that's really important to keep in mind. The other thing to keep in mind is the auditing capability. Like there is a paper ballot, you get a receipt, you can check everything. So, trust and verify. That's that's key. And the last thing I would say is, and we kind of touched upon it, there's a lot of skepticism around technology out there, and for good reason. But technology also has a good role to play. It's a force for good. We use technology to make a vaccine for this virus in record time. We've never had vaccines built so quickly. And a lot of that is through the power of software and technology. And so let's keep an open mind. Let's be skeptical, but objective, and look at data and evidence. And so that would be our message to everybody, to the critics. Like let's try to help people who can't vote. Let's try to not be close-minded about fear and cybersecurity risks are there everywhere, but there's a way to make it safe enough and work and thrive in the presence of those risks. So that would be our message. And if we're always looking for new ideas, also welcome criticisms. If anybody wants to help us in any way, just go to our website. There's lots of opportunities to participate, both on a technical level and also on a non-technical policy level. We are looking for help and advice and guidance. So we welcome all that, and hoping to continue to build a movement so more and more people can have this as a option for voting in the years to come.
Well, this has been an extremely enlightening conversation for me. I hope for the listeners out there as well. So Nimit, thank you so much for joining us. And for anyone that wants more information, you can go to voatz.com. That's VOATZ.com. And again, Nimit, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you, Jack. It's a pleasure.
And that's a wrap on another episode of UC3P. Credits go to Jack Emery for producing, interviewing, and editing this episode. Thank you again to Nimit for taking the time to speak with Jack. Our assistant production managers are Jack Emery and Ioana Lapuri. Our finance director is Aishwarya Kumar. Our communications director is Olu Ogidan, and our publisher is Yining Wang. Our intro music is Knockout 2 by Datubi, and our outro music is Yes Yes Y'all by Matt Large. Our cover art was designed by Shirin Rabat. Please visit us on our website, uc3p.org. If you like what you heard, please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. My name is Siddhant Wadera, and this was the University of Chicago Public Policy Podcast's main page.